sitting in the morning light, and it's such a beautiful Monday morning. So I wanted to just come on and talk about the weekend and um, talk about some changes here within my YouTube channel. You can see my hands are blue, the remnants of being blue from this weekend. I had the honor of facilitating an indigo baby blessing for a dear sister of mine. And I've never done one of those before. I've done many baby blessings and henna ceremonies and sound ceremonies for mothers to be, but I've never done one that was focused on indigo and um, wrapping mother and child in the protective energy of the indigo plant, the spirit of indigo, and the magic that indigo brings into our lives. So it was just a beautiful organic flow at this baby blessing, and I'm still feeling the energy from that blessing and being part of something that was just so magical and so sacred and so spontaneous, and that came together so easily and organically. So, um, and of course, I don't wear gloves when I dip my hands into the indigo vat, not ordinarily. So, my fingernails are blue. And so I'll be blue for the next couple of days, which I always love that experience of just carrying the magic of indigo just imbued in my skin. And the more that I work with the indigo plant and work with the indigo vat and just this magical ancient spirit, the more it just infiltrates into my life. And so I just really feel like I'm merging with the spirit of the indigo. And indigo has such a rich history that's multi-layered, all the way from royalty to slavery, and everywhere in between. So I feel really blessed to just be doing the research that I'm doing around indigo itself, and then um, being asked to facilitate such sacred circles. So in that way, um, the work that I've been doing is continuing and shifting and changing, and I'm always really excited when that happens. Um, the indigo is also encouraging me to continue my work with death midwifery. And good morning. I see some people jumping on. I've just been kind of talking to myself until now, and so thanks for being here. Um, but back in 2021, when my mother passed, I was with her. Myself and my siblings were all with her when she was on her deathbed. And the same thing happened when my father was dying. My father died of lung cancer when he was 53. And I'm the youngest of four children. So when he was 53, I was 19. And in hindsight, I'm just like, wow, I currently have a 19-year-old daughter. And I just think of how young we are when we're 19. And I didn't feel that young when I was 19. I was living on my own. I had a boyfriend who became my future husband. And a year after my father passed, I got pregnant with my first child. So I certainly felt like an adult at that time. But, now that I'm 42, looking back at being 19, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so young to lose a parent. And so I was with my father as he went through his initiation into death, which was about 5 months of treatments and really intense procedures, and then becoming smaller and weaker and eventually leaving his body. So that experience with him really changed me. And in 2021. So my father passed in 2003 and my mother passed in 2021. So I was much older, you know, and I had, at that point, I had had quite a bit of experience with sitting with the dying and being present with those who are leaving their bodies, which is such a sacred portal of space. It's much like that portal that we experience when we're witnessing someone give birth, which I've also done many times. Um, but working with the indigo, because blue is such a powerful color for many things, grief included. When I think of my grief and the different stages of this grief journey, blue would be the color that that most resonates with me, as far as just that deep blue of the underworld and or the other realm, or whatever words we use to call that space where we leave our bodies and go into another realm, or even just hi Juniper, the big old dog over here. Her tail is like trying to knock things over. So if you see me keep looking over here, I'm looking at a big old bloodhound lab mix named Juniper, my girlfriend's dog. But even like, I remember in the early days after my mother left her body, I just felt like I was in this fog. I felt like this fog had lowered down over me, and it was a very blue space, like a blue, foggy, smoky, magical, sacred, divine space of grief. And as the years have gone on, that the energy of that has changed and shifted, but the different shades of blue really, really resonate with me for just that, the spirit of grief and initiation. So it's just interesting to me. I'm just paying attention because, let's see, I guess that was maybe 2023. I did a course, a death doula course, that really changed my life. And I knew that it was a course for death doula, like training and certification. And so the expectation that I had going into it was one of, you know, learning how to sit with the dying, learning how to hold space for families of people who are transitioning. But I was immediately confronted with my own mortality, and processing my own death was the first part of that training, which was unexpected to me. Do you want to go outside? Okay, hold on, I'll be right back because she's just crying and she's gonna cry until I let her out. Okay, I'm back. I guess we all just want to sit in the sun this morning. She's like, can you let me out so I can sit in the sun? So in that training, the first part of the course was called Enter the Grave. And it was about being confronted with your own death. And there were a lot of meditations and some somatic movement and different practices that that confronted us with the reality that we will all one day leave our bodies. And as a yoga teacher, I've worked a lot with death and being in Shavasana and practicing dying, but this course just, it taught me something new, and it gave me a different perspective and put my own death in front of me in a way that I couldn't have prepared for, really. It was just so new. And just thinking about, who do I want at my bedside when I'm leaving my body? Who is my Anam Kara, which is the person that sits with you as you leave your body. If I could choose who that person is, who would I choose? And we did meditations for the goddess Kali, and just I had so many profound experiences during that training of, when we think about holding space for others, when we think about doing this work, whether it's through my personal lineage is yoga, meditation, herbalism, and it's like we walk in thinking that we know um, what to expect sometimes. Or I have even spoken, like I did a prenatal yoga teacher training called Khalsa Way with Gurmukh Kaur Khalsa, who is one of my favorite teachers. I love Gurmukh so much. And I actually spoke out of my mouth walking into that training. I was talking to a friend on the phone. And I was like, I think this is going to be a really beautiful time. It was 8 days with 50 other women. 9 of them were pregnant, and we were learning these techniques for teaching prenatal yoga. I actually have a prenatal yoga video up here on my YouTube for those of you who want to go back and watch it. It's called like Khalsa Way yoga class, I think. And I can actually probably attach it here. But I walked into that training and I said to my friend on the phone, I said, I think this is going to be a really beautiful time with a lot of women, but I don't think that I have anything to really learn. And I can't believe I said that. It's like famous last words, like just when you open your mouth to say there's nothing here for me, you just get like hit over the head. So, whenever I think about that conversation, I laugh because that training just rocked my world, and um, that training in particular put me in front of this ancestral healing. I was doing a meditation, and my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, was murdered when I was 11 years old. And as I was doing this meditation, um, is called Fists of Fury. I actually led that meditation on Friday night in a new moon sound ceremony that I did. And I love that meditation. It's where you're bringing the arms out from the arc line. So the arc line is here and here. And so you got your hands in a fist with the thumbs inside, and you're doing this, and you're breathing out of your mouth. Hopefully not hitting things behind you, like make sure the space is clear. But so that's the movement of the meditation. You're doing that for like 7 to 11 minutes. And so that you kind of get in this trance state. And the point of the meditation is to get angry. I remember doing that meditation every day in sadhana. And one morning, I was already angry about something else. And there were a lot of different emotions that came up during that training. And so it was like 4 a.m. All 51 of us were in the sadhana space practicing this meditation together. And I was already angry, so it was really easy for me to get angry, which is the point of the meditation. And I love that because I don't know many meditations where the point is to get angry. And it's really good for us to process our anger that way instead of sweeping it under the floor, or whatever else, wherever else we put our anger, onto our loved ones or out into the community, like being with that anger, processing our anger so that we can be empathetic and compassionate and responsive, but not from a place of being reactive, coming from a place of being neutral and solid within ourselves instead of, lashing out and spewing our anger onto others because we haven't processed it. So I'm doing the meditation, and I felt myself become my grandmother as she was being murdered. And that anger, because my grandmother, so the story goes that, and I don't know how true this story is. This is like my memory from being a child, but the story that I heard along the way and maybe picked up bits and pieces of was that um, perhaps this man that she was seeing was like her boyfriend, and perhaps the relationship had ended. He came to her house uninvited, forced his way in. She fought him, physically fought him, and then he shot her multiple times and left her, dead, and then he went off and killed himself. So That's the story that I've always been told. Or, nobody really sat me down and told me that. I knew that my grandmother had been murdered, but I was 11. So, you don't share all of the details of everything with a child. So I think I just picked at these things along the way, probably from eavesdropping or um, asking questions later. But so I was doing the meditation, and then I became my grandmother fighting for her life. And I was moving through that energy, which was extremely intense and unexpected because I was, I nobody could have told me that I would experience that through a 7-minute meditation that I was doing. And then I shifted into my mother, and um, the anger that she felt when she found out that her mother had been murdered. And that was interesting to me because I never thought of my mother as being angry about that. I thought of her as being heartbroken and shocked. And my mother, when she would find out that somebody had died, I always knew this sound because she would be like that weeping and wailing, and she would throw herself on the ground and just be screaming and mourning. And I have always really admired that in her because just the way that she was able to let herself go. She wasn't worried about, oh, I can't do this because someone is watching, or I won't do this because my children are in the house, or she just had this instinctual, guttural experience of grief that I remember being strongly impacted by as a child. Let me go let the dog in. I'll be right back again. Come on now. Okay, go on. Thanks for sticking around. I've been up and down and up and down. So in this meditation, I started to feel my mother's anger and rage. And I was moving through that, still moving through the meditation. And then it was like it all moved through me and everything cleared out, and I was just in a really peaceful place. And then the meditation was over. So doing that Khalsa Way training really put me in a situation and in an experience of wrapping my mind around what a layer of this ancestral healing that we hear, like this buzzword, of ancestral healing, but what it gave me an experience of that um, through the subconscious, through the meditative seat. And it's not anything that I could have prepared for. It just knocked me over the head and it just rocked my world. And then it set me down this path of, wow, it really is true that through the work that we do here in our bodies, we have the potential to create healing for our ancestors and for our future generations, and all of that is passing through this experience here. Like that I really believe that because I've had at this point multiple experiences of creating some dynamic healing for my grandmother, and so on and so forth, into the past and into the future, just through the work that I'm doing here in my human experience. And that is a trip. Like, this place is so magical. This world is magical beyond belief, and when we really start to tap into that, um, it's mind blowing. The miracles that ripple through. So, if you're interested in the Khalsa Way training, I have a Khalsa Way class, and it's for um, expectant mothers, but also those who are trying to conceive, people who are practicing conscious conception, people that are just being supportive of women who are having children, women who like, I just think it's for all women. I don't know. It's for all women everywhere. Because when I did the training and I did these classes and meditations, I wasn't pregnant. I have no intention on being pregnant again. I have 3 children. I've been pregnant 3 times. And at this at this stage in my life, I am not having any more babies. But I find myself surrounded by so many beautiful women that are passing through that initiation of motherhood now for the first time, or for the fifth time, or um, and so that training, I think, is just really good for all women. um, and there is another training coming up. I'm not sure if there's one in 2026, but I think that the training will be going back to Miami, which is where I did the training, in 2027. I'll have to reach out and ask, but I saw something come across my email the other day about Khalsa Way. But um, if that kind of work speaks to you, then I really recommend doing that training. But the death doula work and the indigo, so circling back to that conversation, um, I'm trying to just pay attention and understand what the indigo is asking of me right now. And one thing that came up for me, I think just because I was in that space of the baby blessing, birth and death, these two portals where we're coming into this place and leaving this place, just feel so similar. And they're very potent portals of um, initiation into life and initiation into death. And that threshold is a space that I feel very comfortable in, even though it's hard to be in that space sometimes. Um, it's a gift that I understand that I carry, especially as it relates to death. And I can't say I love being in the space of death. That's kind of weird, but um, I do. There's a grounded confidence that I feel being in that space and listening and um, gaining an understanding of how I can best be of support in that space. So I'm feeling really called to continue that work. I've been making brooms and making dolls and focusing on my art and working with natural dyes and teaching classes and doing a lot of that over the past um, year or so right now, almost year. I've been really doing that full time. And now I feel like it's time for me to really welcome these other endeavors back into my life. And the death work is really important. There were some things I needed to integrate and process over the last few years, namely that first training, that first module of the training, entering the grave, um, and all the things that came up for me there, and the things that I need to heal within myself in order to be able to do this work. Like healing work, wouldn't it be great if we could just heal and be done with it? Like that would be amazing, but that's not how it's really worked from my experience. Healing, it it never ends. It's an ongoing practice of awareness and listening and being still and silent and taking action when it's appropriate and not taking action when it's not appropriate. So it's just, we refine our healing practice as time goes on and the more we do it. And but it certainly doesn't end. The transformation and spiritual expansion continues all the way through and beyond. So yeah, I wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about when I came on live. I was just like, well, it's so beautiful and sunny. And I felt like so sunny in this yellow shirt. And I had such a beautiful weekend. So Friday, I did a sound ceremony with my good friend, Chris. And we do a new moon sound ceremony every month. And so this was that day. And so we had the gongs and the bowls and The room was packed. I guess there were like 30 people there. And we don't really advertise that event, so it's a miracle that anybody shows up at all. um, and I led that Fists of Fury meditation, so everybody in the room was just getting it, you know. And I love a full space of people meditating. It's nice to have a small meditation group too, and it's intimate and it feels different. But when the room is packed and everybody is just deep in their work, there's this element of, you know, everybody's energy is their own, but then there's the energy of the space as well. And people, um, what I've noticed that is that people can do hard things longer when there's a group around them that's doing that too. So everybody is just really um, feeding off of that collective energy as well, which helps to uplift us and carry us through things that would be harder to do on our own. So I love being in that space. I love leading that space and encouraging people to go beyond their perceived limitations. So that was a really beautiful night. And then on Saturday, I was at the baby blessing all day, and we dyed probably over 70 baby outfits for a new baby that's coming through. And we were laughing, just saying, you know, this kid better really love the color blue because um, so many different shades of blue for this baby and so many women coming together and a couple of men as well. I thought that was interesting too, like a co-ed baby shower. That's really beautiful. And just in the indigo vat, singing over the vat, blessing up the vat, being with the spirit of indigo. It was amazing. Um, and then yesterday, Sunday, was just a very easy, smooth, relaxing day of rest and connection. And yeah, so today, Monday, I'm just like in the energy of all of that. So I was like, well, I'll just make a live video. And oh, there was also one more thing that I want to talk about and then I'll get off. So on my website, broomsandbaskets.com, there's a bunch of new inventory for those of you who have been waiting to get a broom from me. Usually when I put inventory up, it sells really quickly. And I haven't been talking about it much. So right now there are still some brooms up there for those of you who haven't been able to get a piece yet. And I won't be doing another shop update probably for another month or so because right now I'm getting ready for like market seasons and doing some stuff in person. And so just building up my inventory for those markets. So the inventory that's on the website will be the only inventory up there for a little while. But for the past year or so, I've been playing with this idea of bringing the membership back to my website, which I had a membership a few years ago where there was a book club and an audio journal and just all these other offerings I was doing about making herbal formulations and um, my behind the scenes processes of making the dolls and the brooms and the natural dyes, and all of that was included in that membership, and also animal husbandry and just all the things I was doing on the homestead at the time and gardening. And I've been thinking about bringing that membership back, but I have a lot of resistance around that. And so I've just been sitting with my resistance and trying to understand why I'm feeling that way. Um, thank you. Thank you, low key ghostly. It's nice to know that people are just kind of popping on and joining in. So if you're just watching this and you're not subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would do that. I always forget to mention that. You know, people are always like, subscribe, share, comment. I just, it's not, it's not at the forefront of my mind to mention those things. But if you've come across this live and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe so you can see more of my stuff. Um, so I've been thinking about this membership and bringing the membership back, and I've been resistant to that. And I think one of the reasons why I feel resistant to that is that when I do have a membership and people are paying for it monthly, I feel a lot of pressure in my artistic process to create. And that's not always how my process works. And so it kind of forces me into this this mode of having to create a lot of stuff quickly, and I don't enjoy that. So I think that's the main reason why I've been resistant to bringing the membership back. So what I've been doing over the last several months is building the membership on the back end so that it already has a lot of content. But even just the energy around that membership feels strange to me. So I'm like, okay, well, what's a different way that I can do this? What's a different way that people can have my classes and these things that I offer that take a lot of time? You know, sometimes I'm out in the field harvesting prickly pear tunas, for example, and then making videos on how to harvest, how to process, how to formulate, and then creating a bunch of different recipes to share. And that takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of knowledge and wisdom that I've gained over long periods of time. So I'm like, okay, well, how can I still offer these things, but not do it in this membership sort of way, which I don't enjoy? So um, just also this weekend has been really magical for me. So in this weekend, I came up with this idea. I was inspired to come up with this idea to create a GoFundMe instead. So then what I can do, because I really am dedicated to creating content here on YouTube more because it feels easy. I'm starting to get an understanding because most of my content is over on Instagram. So I'm trying to slowly make my way into YouTube because I like the idea of long form. I like sitting here and creating a really long video that people will watch. You know, I feel like people are really comfortable on YouTube with long form stuff and binge watching. And the content creators that I watch on YouTube, I just love them and I feel like I know them, and I'll just like, even if I'm cooking in the kitchen or whatever, washing dishes, I might put somebody's channel on and I'll just watch it, you know, as I'm doing other things. And um, so it's already something I enjoy doing, creating content here on YouTube. And so I'm like, okay, well, let me stay with doing something I already enjoy and then just have this place where people can go and make donations, big or small or whatever. Like every donation counts, you know, every donation goes into my artistic process so I can create more and share more. Um, and then there's not the pressure of like a monthly membership, and there's not the pressure of me having to create all this content really quickly. I can just go at my own speed, which sometimes is quickly, sometimes is more slow, depending on what other things I have going on in my life and my business. So that's what I've done. I've created a GoFundMe support page where you can go and donate if you feel called to do so, and then I can just continue to create content and put it up here in a way that I love. So I'll share that within the description, and you can go and check it out. I wrote up a little, you know, it's like a bio about just the magic and whimsy. If I could try to encapsulate all the things that I do into one word, I would just say magic, that I'm a magic maker. And that seems kind of silly to say, but when I think of magic, um, I think of the unseen. I think of the occult. So the definition of the word occult is, um, uh, oh, I just lost the definition, but it's something like for the initiate, knowledge and wisdom that's given to the initiate. And so occult knowledge and occult wisdom is an initiation process, which is what I think magic is that we're initiated into the practice of magic. And magic is a word that can mean many things. But when I think of magic and as it applies to my personal experience, like I think that magic is um, tricky in the way that it is taboo to some people, and some people hear the word magic and they immediately turn away from it. But I think that magic, miracles, alchemy, transformation, all of these words are related. And when we begin to slow down and listen carefully, we become aware of how magic and miracles and alchemy and transformation are moving through our own personal human experience. So, my question to you is, what does magic mean to you? What it means to me is the unexpected subtleties of reality, just through meditation and mantra and mudra and plant medicine and gardening and ancestral cooking and homemade food. Like, I feel like magic peeks peeks itself out at us, and the veil of this reality that we see day to day starts to lift, and it's like, whoa. you know um that's vague, but I'm like, do you know what I'm saying? I feel like some of you are definitely feeling what I'm saying. It's hard to put into language because as soon as we start to say it, it becomes lost, which is one of those things about magic, And we can put another word in there, divinity, just like being in relationship with the divine, um, being in relationship with the abundance that is all around us all the time if we have the eyes to see it. Being in relationship with gratitude and blessings. And so if I could take, um, if I could take all of my work and put it into a word, I would say magic. And that still doesn't say it. But so I was writing up a little bio, this morning on the GoFundMe, and I was just saying that I'm a magic maker. And I think that's as close as I can get to describing what I do. Um, yeah, so um, if you feel called, you can go to GoFundMe. You can leave a donation. Once I finish this live video, which is becoming really long, it's like the one of the ways that I can actually make long form videos is just to come up here and do a live, because um, the recording and the editing process for making a long form video is really long. It's long. It's a long process. It's a lot of work. Um, yeah, that people are commenting on my eyes. It's because I'm sitting in the sun, but thank you. My grandfather. I remember being a little girl, and I feel like I just was like so strange as a little girl. My hair was just all over the place most of the time because I didn't like to get my hair combed. I had these crazy hazel eyes. I was really skinny and shy. And one of the questions that people have asked me all the time is, where'd you get your eyes from? Is that really the color of your eyes? Someone told me I had the eyes of a witch. Just like all these comments about my eyes. But when I was little, I wished that I had dark brown eyes because everybody in my immediate family has dark brown eyes. And it was I was talking about my maternal grandmother, and her skin was really white and she had freckles. She was a black woman, but she just had, really fair features and freckles and red hair. And my grandmother, both of my grandmothers, all of my grandmothers, but this grandmother who I was talking about her murder earlier in this live video, um, she was just one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. And I remember her cheeks were just like so like pillowy soft. Like her skin was so soft. And I would go into her bedroom and she would have, like the powder that you can put on your face and like the perfume that you squeeze from the pump. Like she was just so elegant, and she was such a lady. Um, And I was a little bit afraid of her. I think just because she was like so powerful too, like just standing in such beauty, such commanding beauty was just like, you know, me as a little girl. I was like, ooh, it was kind of scary. But her husband, my maternal grandfather, had really dark skin and green eyes. And so my eyes, I feel like I reached back to my grandfather and pulled some of that green from him. My eyes are hazel green. So sometimes they look brown, sometimes they look yellow, sometimes they look green. It just kind of changes. But so I'm gonna get off now, but when I started thinking about creating content here on YouTube and offering a way for people to support my work through here, that felt really good and it felt really easy. And that's the kind of work and connection and community that I'm moving towards right now. I want to move towards the things that feel easy, the things that feel like they're flowing organically. That I feel like if I'm trying to force something, like if I'm trying to force myself to get on board for being down with doing this thing, then it's just not right. It's not right for me right now. So I want to move towards the ease. I want to move towards the things that feel expansive, the things that feel beautiful, and the things that are just like calling my name and make me feel joyful. So this is one of those things, and the GoFundMe will support that work in a way that feels easy and it flows. So uh, there's that. And I was gonna launch my membership this spring, but it feels like we're on the cusp of spring. I live in Central Texas, and right now the cleavers and the henbit are starting to pop up, which are signs of the spring is coming here. There's also the redbud trees are putting out their pink flowers. When I see the redbud trees in bloom, I'm always like, wow, the spring is here. And I've been in a really blue space all winter. All winter, I've been um, struggling with allergies, just seasonal allergies, and I've really been wintering. I've been in that space of slowing down and doing a lot of introspective work and just dreaming and creating new things. And I've been sewing and doing a lot of the um, hand stitching type of things that I like to do in the winter. It was really cold for some time, and so I was hunkered down. And now I feel like that felt like a deep, deep indigo blue that wintering time. But now the more like sky blues are coming out, and the blue is shifting shades, and the indigo vat is warming up and waking up, and it feels like it's time to. I've already been in the garden planting seeds. I can't wait to share those seeds with you, especially the clary sage. I'm so excited for the clary sage. Um, and just coming back in the garden, coming back in the sun, feeling the warmth on my skin. It's a very transformative time for so many of us as we approach the newness, the new year, the renewal of spring. And so I'm just excited to create content here. Um, you miss the winter. Where are you located? I feel like it's still really, really winter in some places, or maybe you're in Australia where we're flipped, right? Um, but yeah, I'm I'm just really excited, and I feel myself waking up to the changing of the seasons. So with that, this is a live, so it'll take me a little bit of time to like go into the description and like update all the things and put the GoFundMe link and all of that in there. And then I think that I'm still kind of learning YouTube, but I think that there will be like a preview of the live, and then um, I can post the full live like another day or so. Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, Morocco was one of my dream places to visit because I work so much with the henna plant, and I have since I was little. But I would love to go to Morocco and just be with all of the henna that's happening there. But I didn't imagine that you were going to say Morocco. That just like opens my heart so much. And, I can only imagine, like, Morocco feels like a dream world to me because I haven't spent much time. What? Ah, that's crazy. I need to know more. Well, I'm sorry that you hate it in Morocco, but Morocco is one of my dream places to visit. So, like, send me a message and we'll talk more about that because I need to know more now. But um, yeah, I'm gonna jump off and I'll leave all the description in the little description area, and you can share this video if you feel called to something that you heard. It kind of went a little bit deep into the grief conversation today, which I always welcome when that happens because I know it helps me so much to talk about my grief experience and my experiences with death and being with the dying. And so I hope that that resonated with some of you out there. But yeah, I'll talk to you all again soon. And remember, in order to reach enlightenment, you must sweep the floor. My name is Namjoti with Blue Cypress Botanicals, and I'll see you again soon. Much love to you all.